What we want to be, it's what we strive to be, but today we're taking an honest look at potential parenting blind spots when we ask, am I really an engaged, involved, hands-on parent? Dr. Adam Schwebach is the director of the Neuropsychology Center of Utah. We challenged him to put together a little questionnaire for us that would help us all gauge where we're at as parents and where we might improve. This might be a reality check for a lot of parents, a look in the mirror moment. Do you find many parents, though, Adam, want to step it up, so to speak, when it comes to their engagement and their involvement with their children?
Sure, absolutely. I think every parent wants to be engaged with their child. I think every parent wants to know what their child is doing and be actively involved in their lives. I'll
tell you where I think I'm anticipating it could get slippery and hard is those preteen, teenage years where you don't quite know how to form that connection. Is that a struggle?
Absolutely. I think it's a struggle for everyone. I have kids in that same age range right now, and we're trying to figure things out. So it's definitely a hard spot.
I think these questions will help people in that spot. Let's get into this questionnaire. Question number one, when was the last time you listened to your child without giving your opinion? And that's the catch, right?
I think so. I think sometimes as parents we fall into a trap that we feel as though we have to give our child our opinion, or we have to give them some direction. We have to give them that parenting advice. And oftentimes kids will say back to us, you're just not listening to me. You don't understand me. And sometimes when we have a conversation with our kiddos, it's really important to close our mouth and open our ears and just listen to what they're saying. And we really can gain a lot of insight into what's happening in their lives when we just do that.
If we practice that, and it can be, I'm sure, easier said than done, but the quiet, ears open approach, what are we telling our teen in that moment without saying anything?
I think one is that we care about them and we care and value their opinion. So I think to teenagers, especially to teenagers, that's very important to them, that they feel like that we are listening and that we understand and value what they're saying. So I think that's probably the best message that we send to them.
And if they are saying something that in that listening moment we are just dying to respond to, is it a wait and revisit later? Is it a come back to it, circle back to it at another time? Is listening to those big important issues really key in the moment?
I think so, and sometimes I encourage parents to respond with what I call WH questions. So a WH question might be something, if you're listening to something your child is telling, you might want to respond of something, well, how did you feel about that? What can I do to help you in this situation? Is there something more that we can be doing to improve the circumstances? So when you respond in a question format, I think again that helps the child realize that you're listening, that you're not just automatically interjecting your opinion, but you really want to work together with them to try to resolve those conflicts or problems.
I like that, the WH, the what, the how, those inquisitive statements. All right, question number two, and this one speaks to your relationship with your child and also to your bond. You want parents to self-check, have you hugged your child in the last 24 hours? That kind of puts a little tug on my heart. Have you hugged them, physically put your arms around them and shown that love?
Yeah, we get busy. I mean, our lives are very busy. Our culture is busy.
Sure.
But we don't take enough time to do something very basic and simple as just physical touch. And physical touch is extremely important in any relationship. You know, hugging, touching, patting your child on the back. You know, with my boys, we like to wrestle and beat each other up.
That's love in its own form.
Absolutely. My teenage daughter sometimes doesn't like those big, strong hugs, but it really is important to build that bond. And there's a lot of hormones and a lot of chemicals that are at play in our brain when we just do simple hugs. There's been some things out there that, you know, kids need about 7 to 8 hugs a day, and I don't know that we often take the time to really do that. I know I'm just as guilty of that.
7 to 8.
Yes, and it's important to have that bond.
So what if you're a parent? Two scenarios come to mind. A, my child isn't super responsive to that affection. They're embarrassed, they shrug it off. Or two, maybe I've let a lot of time go and there's kind of an awkwardness now. We haven't kind of embraced or hugged or even given that kind of love nudge for a while, and now it feels awkward. How would you suggest parents break into those scenarios?
Well, my motto is the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps are patience and persistency will pay off.
I love that.
And so sometimes we've just got to grind in there and just keep working at it.
Push through it and just show them you love them. I like that. Question number 3, can you name 3 of your child's closest friends? What does this tell us about the relationship?
Well, I think most parents that are engaged, they're going to know who their child is spending time with, and they're going to know where they're at and what they're doing. And I think it's important for parents to realize, who are those kids? Have I met these kids? Do I know them by face? If I saw them walking down the street, would I recognize them? Do I know where they live? Do I have their phone number? And we want to be actively involved, and it's important to have those kids come over to your house, have those friends at your house, buy the pizza on Friday night, make sure you're stocked up with lots of soda pop, and make sure those kids are coming over. And I think that's going to help you build a relationship not only with your own child, but know who they're social interconnected with. That's important to know.
Ann Romney was here on the show in studio a couple of months ago, and she said something to that point that jumped out at me. She said, oftentimes when I'm interviewed by the mainstream media and they hear about our big family, they think, do you even know your kids and your grandkids, right? They're in the 20 count, I think, with grandkids. Sure. And she said, I take offense to that because absolutely I know my grandkids and I know their kids' names. So this applies to grandparents as well, kind of that engagement level with kids and grandkids alike. All right, finally, technology is now a part of our parenting playbook. It just has to be, right? So question number 4 taps into that. How much time did your child spend online today? Like, you want us to know down to the minutes?
I think it's helpful. I mean, you know me, I've talked many times about we got to reduce that screen time, modify that screen time. We're all guilty of this and we can fall into that trap very easily. There are apps that you can download that will help track how much time your child is online, but you really want to know how much time, but more importantly, what are they doing, who are they talking to, and how are they spending that time? And you want to make sure that the time they spend online is productive. There's nothing productive about watching 5 hours of YouTube videos. So you want to know what they're doing and how much time they're spending in that kind of activity.
Does parent involvement play a difference in that activity? I mean, if I'm sitting down with my child and watching a video, or if I'm sitting down with my child and playing a video game, does that knock minutes off the clock, so to speak, or is it just standard monitor the tech time?
Well, I do think it creates a bond. My sons love it when I sit down and just watch them play Fortnite. Fortnite is this huge, crazy game.
Yes.
And my boys love it. They love it when I participate with that. So I think you can participate in those activities. It's a balancing act.
Sure.
And I think as a parent, you have to ask yourself a couple questions. You know, what is my child learning from their screen time? And how is it helping us to be a better family? And if that screen time is pulling you apart, you're not engaged, you're not loving each other, you're not bonding or physically touching, then there's a problem. So I think every family just needs to kind of analyze how are they using that technology in their life and make a point to make changes in it.
I love this so much. I think this approach was genius. It helps parents really look in the mirror, like I said, and see where we can step up our engagement efforts. If parents want additional help, if they need you as a resource to support their family or those family dynamics, how can they get in touch?
They can always find us online. Our website is www.npcu.net, and they can always look us up and give us a call if they need to.
All right. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate it.